You know, and I know, and they know, 'cause we go all in. And I know, and they know, 'cause we go all in. Sip it, side take. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newest edition of What You've Been Missing. You are now listening to the All Dressed Up podcast. If you're with us live, you're live. I am your man, the myth and the legend, K Dizzle DC. And two, I got it right the first time on the video. This is like this is generational right here. I got it right the first time. I usually go this way, but I got it right the first time. Tell them who you are, baby. Tell them who you
Well, I'm a root for you to get a lot of things right tonight, King. I'll tell you that. It's your man Have Streams, man. It's good to be back. The All Dressed Up podcast, first episode of March 2025. Man, what up, Sal?
What up, Sal? Sal is in the building. Look, man. Look, if it always feels like forever, but it's never too long, man. Shout out to the underdogs. We in the building, man. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We got a heck of a lot to talk about tonight. First of all, okay, let's go ahead because I know you had an eventful weekend. You were just flying in out of town. The busy man that you are, the guy. Tell him how your week was, man.
Man, I gotta say, man, the trip was planned by the beautiful Shanae. Shout out to my baby. I love her so much. Hooked us up, man. We linked up with some friends of ours. We had some nice, kind of like club level tickets for the tank fight. So the tank Lamont Roach fight in Brooklyn. We there for Barclays. So I said, you know what? We're not gonna fly. We're gonna take the train.
Okay.
So we decided to take the Amtrak. We get over there yesterday, early enough because we want to go out there, maybe get some, nice light lunch and settle in before the fight so we can get comfortable. So as you come in, everybody, I'm telling y'all my story. Again, I'm just getting back from Brooklyn from the tank fight. So, all right. As soon as we walk in, it's like 5 minutes until our train departs. It's not like a plane. You could walk in real last minute. So I'm looking for the train. I say, well, shit, where's the train? Right? I go to the I guess the booth where the guy's making the announcements, and I say, I'm looking for the train to Brooklyn. It's supposed to be departing at 9:58. He said, I'm looking for it too. I said, oh shit. Well, what's going on? He said, I'll tell you what I know. Leave me alone. I said, sir, I didn't ask you any questions, but it's okay. I'll leave you alone. Long story short, man, the train, I don't know when it ever left DC. There was an obstruction at Union Station in DC, so all the trains were stuck. So now, being the gentleman that I am, I said, you know what? Let's throw everything in the whip. We're gonna drive, man. We just rode out to Brooklyn and we made it. It was a hell of a time. I put a lot of posts on Instagram of the experience out there, but we'll talk about the fight. But I gotta tell you what happened, man. I gotta tell the people what happened.
Okay. All right. Have Streams and then they Chronicles. Come, just set it up, bro.
I gotta tell you what happened. All right. So every time I travel, there's a story now. So, the plan is let's check in. Let's get fresh. Let's go out. Get to the arena early because a lot of pre-fights, man. One thing I can say, Tank put a lot of the DMV on because a lot of local, but big time boxers were there. That fought from like Capitol Heights and DC. So, it's a lot going on. So we check in. We decide we want to pre-game and get there early. And when we check in, we just pretty much put our stuff in the room, change up, and leave. Room was a standard hotel. And when we get back, obviously it's late. It's after all the event, the fight, all the parties and everything we did. So now it's time for us to lay down. So as soon as Shanae moved the comforter, it's these two mismatched black socks in the bed. So mind you, I'm leaving a whole entire part of the story out because we've been partying all night.
Mm-hmm.
We went to a fight. It's 20 degrees in New York. It's fucking freezing, and my feet are screaming. All I want to do is lay down and go to sleep. Somebody beat us to the punch. So here's the crazy part. So never did we touch the bed. Again, we walked in, we checked in, put our stuff down, probably messed with some of the toiletries and stuff. The room looked straight.
Yeah.
Left our stuff. Come to find out, what do you think? Maybe the room is just, clean and they missed some socks. I hope. But I'm furious. It's 3, 4 in the morning. Shanae looks at me and she says, "Baby, are these your socks?" And I want to say yes so bad because that's how tired I am.
Uh-huh.
I just like be sleepy drunk to where I'm just like, yeah, I forgot I left my socks in there somehow.
No.
K Dizzle, there's no way these are my socks. We've never touched the bed. So then I look at the socks. It's a black,
Mhm.
it's a black dress sock, about
Yeah,
medium
yeah, yeah, yeah.
medium crew length.
Yeah. Kathleen.
And the other sock was a short and one footing sock. So I don't even know if the person in the bed before us, pause, was an athlete or was a businessman. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
Okay.
know. Well, they were ready for both situations, but hold on.
But first off, let's talk about the person who's disgusting enough to go to a hotel
Uh-huh.
and wear a dress sock and an and one hooping sock. That's disgusting for one.
That's wild. That's crazy work. But the worst part is you got there, you drop your suitcase stuff in there, you immediately left back out. So whoever cleaned the room or supposedly cleaned the hotel room just folded the sheets in the bedspread over the socks.
Now here's another hope. But again, I'm not really upset
Wow.
because I'm not really upset because I never really laid in the bed, but it's just really late. But it's the point, like now we're speculating, Did they clean the towels? Did they do this? Did they
Of
do that?
course. Of course.
And Nova Hotel in Brooklyn,
Mm.
Nova Hotel in Brooklyn. We're definitely gonna leave you a nice review. Thank you. We
Please don't call them
appreciate
out
you.
like that.
But now I'm gonna just finish up and say, look, they come to the room, they bring all the beddings because it's 4 or 5 o'clock. We actually considered driving back home at that time, but we were just too tired. So,
Right.
not to make a long story longer, but we're podding. It's a podcast, and I just want to share, man. So it's like we let the guy. He makes the bed. Brings everything from the pillowcase to the bed skirt. Okay. We lay down. Actually, while we go down and complain, there's somebody else in there in the weight room complaining,
Mm.
saying she had to request a deep clean. And hopefully, she got her redemption. But anyway, they come back to the room like very apologetic.
Mhm.
Make sure like you talk to the manager that's here on duty tomorrow. You can stay as long as you like because we know you're tired. Da 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 da. And here's how I get woke up because I decided to go ahead and go to sleep. Wake up to some knocks. It's a new cat talking about it's time to check out. I said, get the fuck out of my face. I said, do you know what we just endured? And you're waking me up after they said I can walk out of here when I please because they know I'm getting a sleep start at 5 a.m. Oh no. So yeah, man. Obviously we're gonna get refunded from Amtrak.
Right.
And then, Nova, I'm sure they figure something out, you know.
But why is it always that I've had a couple of hotel experiences where, if it happens at night, you got to talk to the manager in the morning. And
They leave
please
they leave the
anybody.
skeleton crew. The skeleton crew can't do anything but charge you. All the skeleton crew can do is collect money for the hotel. They can't do anything and give you
there's gotta
towels.
they gotta start. I don't know. Somebody in the hospitality industry, please talk to me about that because there's never the manager on duty that can do anything about it at that point in time. You always got to talk to the next manager. Long story short, you got to a hotel, you never really touched the room. You found two different pairs of socks, one a dress sock, and the other one was a ball b-ball sock underneath the bedspread. At the hotel, You can name it if you want to again after the fight. Well, that's bananas. And then had the nerve to knock on your door, tell you, "Hey, it's time to get up out of here." So look, shout out to the hotel out there doing it good or bad or indifferent. We already know what it is. We already know what it
Man, I'm telling you, bro, shout out to the underdogs.
is.
I was the underdog out there. Lamont Roach was an underdog. And then you
So,
got Brooklyn, man, who's not set up for after parties, man. I'm spoiled from being from DC.
uh-huh.
But these cats, they got all of Baltimore and DC out there because, it's a big DC fighter,
Mhm.
Lamont Roach. So Brooklyn is basically holding and hosting all of the DMV and Baltimore. They're kind of capitalizing on the fact that Tank's a big fighter. He can net this type of crowd to come up there to their arena. Because I'm gonna tell you, they probably sold more tickets for that fight than any Brooklyn net game.
Mhm.
So we're in the arena. I gotta tell the podcast, man. I gotta tell the people
Go
because I'm
ahead.
shocked.
Go ahead.
So times are changing. So we're in the arena. And again, we got a nice section. We're in one of those like club level parts where you can sit there and eat, and like all
Mhm.
the food's right behind you. And I'm looking around, and it's like 50 blunts lit up in Barclays, yo. I couldn't believe it. I said, "This is incredible. I'm in heaven." But one time, I decided to not bring some grass with me.
Mhm.
Everybody's in Barclays hitting a J,
Yeah.
watching Tank fight in front of them. It looked like the Coliseum. It looked like the 2025 version of the I'm
Yeah.
looking around like this is a whole new day and time.
Yeah.
And I mean, so the after party, man, we get up in there. They should have really respected us a little bit more. Like the sections at these little clubs are offering for like $1,500. You and I could barely sit at a table.
What's
You and I could barely sit at a table, Kato. So they're talking about for 8 people. This is a section. Man, it was highway robbery,
Well, you
man.
look, man. You look. It's New York. There's nothing big in New York but the buildings themselves. So look,
But that's my story, man. Thanks for sticking with me, man.
no. What's up, Mayonnaise in the chat? We just heard about your horrible hotel experience
But we had a great
and the
trip though,
train that left
Kato.
you and the train that left you. But I want to talk about the Tank versus Roach fight decision really quick.
You want to talk about it?
Let's talk about it. Where,
Okay.
where, where you at? First of all, for those who didn't see it, it was
Oh, I
very good
saw it.
fight. Very good fight. I know you saw it in person. Very good fight.
Yes, I did.
But the match ended up in a draw. How do you feel about that?
All right. So you want me to give you my whole breakdown or
Give
just
me a breakdown, man.
all
Let's
right,
hear it.
so Socks and Grass, exactly, so that's the new mixtape coming out. It's like Chicken and Beer with Ludacris. So all right, so your boy Tank Davis, like if you're not a casual fight fan, if you really follow boxing, you kind of understand what this fight was.
Ron says a robbery.
Arizona, all right. So Arizona, you say it's a robbery. I'm in there repping DC hard. Arizona pause. Like the whole crowd, we going back and forth. Baltimore people talking trash. It's all love though. It wasn't no beef.
Hmm.
But let's start. Let's talk about it. So it's an opportunity for Tank to get Lamont Roach his biggest payday that he's ever got.
Hmm.
So it's like me and you, K Dizzle, getting ready to have a huge headliner, pay-per-view fight. You're the champ. You've been getting all the, biggest draws.
Right.
But I'm your boy and I'm up and coming. Not really up and coming, but again, to a casual fight fan, you might not really know Lamont Roach, to that depth
Right.
unless you follow the sport.
Right.
This is a chance for him to get the world, the spotlight in front of the world,
Make a name.
and cash a check. And hey, it's me and K Dizzle in the ring. So how much are we gonna really beat each other up? We boys.
Right.
So it's a boxing setup all the way. And I'm not saying it's rigged, but you gotta understand what I'm saying. It's a boxing setup. It happens all the time.
Hmm.
They're not in the fucking press conference ready to kill each other. Their parents ain't fighting each other in the pre-fight weigh-in. So obviously it's all love. Get to the fight. They come out. My man, I think Lamont came out to what's his name, man? One of the young boys, man. OG, forgive me, man. I'm 38. One of the DMV rappers, OG something, just came home. But anyway, my man Tank comes out to Joel Santana and Jim Jones.
That's a conversation in itself. Go ahead.
So right there, what you think about that? Because you said ask me my opinion. I'm gonna give you the rundown. I saw it. I'm gonna tell you right. It is a put on Arizona, but Arizona stick with me because I'm gonna tell you what happened. But when he came out to Jewels and and Jim Jones, I knew he wasn't taking this fight serious, bro. And I fuck with Dipset. I liked it. I'm in there hollering like a fan, like, where's Cam? You know, where's Cam at? But he comes out to the Dipset anthem.
Right.
What you think about that?
All I know is the funniest thing that I heard from it was Jim Jones had a Michael Kors scarf.
I don't know. I don't know. The
He had a Michael
oldest
Kors
fight.
scarf on.
I don't know. And you know what? It's funny, K Dizzle. That's why you so fucking hilarious, bro. Because you took it right to the attire, Jim Jones. He, man,
The
I don't know
oldest
what the fuck
Wyatt.
he was wearing.
The oldest Wyatt.
And then Joel's out there with his big ass teeth. You know, it was funny.
It's
It
wild.
was hilarious. But I was excited because it's nostalgic. You know, it's dip, dip, set.
Right,
You
right.
know, and it's all that crowd, the crowd going crazy. So here comes the fight, Arizona. Here comes the fight. What's gonna happen? Tank doesn't throw a punch for the first 2.5 rounds. I don't think he even lifted up his glove in like 3 rounds. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. So
Does he win all those rounds from 1 to 3? Go ahead, K Dizzle.
no. I'm gonna tell you 110%. I know you say you're 38. I'm a little older than you. That fight started out so damn boring. I fell asleep in the middle of the fight. I did. I fell
You
asleep.
fell
I
asleep
woke
on
up.
the break?
I woke up around round 8.
Damn.
I woke up around round 8. So
Damn.
yeah, it was tough. It was tough sledding. But do you think? Do you
Tell
think?
you.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's the setup. It
No,
wasn't as bad as
it's
it wasn't as bad as Tyson Paul, but it was bad enough where it was.
Paul was there, got booed when they put him up on the big screen. That was hilarious because when you're there, you get to see the other people that are there and they put them up. But it's a setup. So Arizona, all of a sudden, like the way the fight has to go, Tank doesn't start fighting usually until around
till around 9.
6, 7, 8,
Yeah, right
right?
there 9.
And then he Fekker's knockout 8, 9. He gave up a handful of rounds before he got to that point. So he's probably maybe down a round. If you want to really be critical, he could have been down 2 rounds before he got into the actual fight where the real fight began. So all right, so now Lamont Roach starting to get some counter punches. He stopped throwing his left hand. If Lamont Roach throws that left hand, that jab throughout the whole fight,
Mhm.
I don't think Tank beats him, to be honest with you, because that jab that Lamont stopped throwing
Mhm.
neutralized Tank every time, and he was fast enough to not get caught with a lot of Tank's power punches. And when he did get hit, he didn't get hurt, and that was the thing about it. Like when I noticed that Tank wasn't hurting him, I'm like, okay, either he can't hurt him or he's carrying him for the paycheck.
It's a little bit. I thought it was a little bit of both. I thought it was a little bit of both. One of the things I love our DC fighters, right? But very few of them. All of them have great hands.
Never had
All of them
chance.
have great skill, right? But the one thing the majority of them miss is the power.
Yeah.
Is that pure power behind it? Even Sugar Ray. I mean, that great skill, great hands, quick, but they just missing on power. And we saw that through the night. You know, I love Gary. I love the Russell family. Gary Russell, I think, he great skill, great power, but he just couldn't put the kid down.
Yeah.
But it was just
Valenzuela, he should have knocked Valenzuela out.
Oh, he should have definitely knocked him out.
I agree with you.
But I think they're gonna run it back. I think it's gonna run it. I think what was interesting more than anything else was you already know how DMV feels versus Baltimore. DMV is completely separate from Baltimore, so it was a great night for the city and for the area. And I think more than anything, it just showed how close we are versus how different we think we are. You feel what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I
I think they're
mean,
both great fighters. I think Tank Davis might have carried them a little too far where it came to a draw. A lot of people didn't agree with it. It will always be talked about when Tank took a knee because of some hair grease in on
what
his
was
forehead.
that?
Yeah, that
What
was
was that? The
yeah,
whole crowd was like, "What the fuck was that?"
yeah, that was crazy.
I never seen anything like it. And then he got up off the knee. The referee didn't give it a
Didn't count it.
clean break.
Didn't count it. Didn't count it, which was crazy. So it will
Terrible
always be a
refereeing, by the
controversial
way. That
fight.
referee did a terrible job.
Always be a controversial fight moving forward. They will run it back. We'll see it again. We'll
So
see
all the
the
people
way it
that put
is.
the easy money on Tank lost because it was a draw.
Yeah, yeah,
So if you put the easy money on Tank, that would have hurt.
yeah, for
It
sure.
was like negative 1,600 odds
Yeah, it
to
was
bet
crazy.
on Tank.
The numbers was crazy. So look, I want to move. I want to move a little bit, and I will say, Shanae Woolborn, it is your fault and your fault alone for the fact that we are bringing this up right now on this podcast because we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and I had to go see for myself, and I got
You
hooked,
joined the bandwagon.
bro. I got hooked beyond
Oh,
belief.
welcome.
Okay, it took me 72 hours to get through these 7 episodes. Right.
Welcome.
If you have not watched Paradise on Hulu with Sterling K. Brown, you are missing high quality television at this point. Okay. High quality television. Where are you going to start? Because I can go a whole bunch of different places, man. Because this is
Man,
crazy.
I just think it's like the writing is great. They got me hooked. They got me liking the show to where I don't like it because it's getting me back every week. Just giving enough information to get me to come back and see what happened, what is going on, who's the killer, who took out Kyle Bradford, who killed the president.
Hmm.
And then the whole aspect of it now not even being one of the 25,000. So now that opens
That's
up the
my friend.
whole world.
We should have
And his wife's alive.
just put spoiler alert. We shout out the spoiler alert. If you ain't watching it, please go
Oh,
watch
if
it.
you ain't
Apologies
watched
in advance.
Paradise by now,
Spoiler
this ain't
alert.
no spoiler alert. You a Bama. This a Bama alert. Because
Yeah.
I've been telling you guys how good Paradise was. And I don't like TV series, especially that's out right now. But Hulu trying to take a step over Netflix, man.
They trying to step over, man. Look.
So the actual production is good too.
Mhm.
Like it's not cheesy and it's really written well. If you haven't seen it, based on a president, you know what I'm saying, that's set right during again the apocalypse is occurring.
Mhm.
Things are unfolding, the world's coming to an end. They got a select amount of people that they can actually take to an underground world or a bunker where they can start over a new life, and be protected. And all these people, have some reason of why they were selected to go by
Mhm.
people with the president and a person who's really close to the president and Sinatra, the lady who plays the very interesting character.
Oh man.
Very interesting character, man. Sinatra gets you to the point to where you want to jump through the screen and just grab her up because now, again, spoiler alert, Xavier's daughters, got caught up. So they got the leverage on him. And she's saying she knows where his wife is, who he's been thinking has been gone since the beginning of the
He's a-
TV
He
series.
is literally the devil incarnate, bro.
Can
She is
you
she's
imagine?
playing with lives. So Paradise is basically if you remember the movie 2012 when they built boats, this is that movie, but they built a bunker, and they didn't tell anybody. Only people that knew were the rich people, and they chose everybody how they wanted to go. It wasn't about money; it's about choice, who they
But
chose.
the wild part about it is, as you watch the series,
Hmm.
what unfolded to cause the apocalypse hasn't necessarily cleared out the entire
So
population.
so yeah. So look, we don't want to mess it up too much more for you.
It's good, man.
Please go watch Paradise on Hulu, man. This show is out of control. It's just taking a super turn. It's like the past 3 episodes really taking a super turn. When you first start getting into it, they don't tell you what it's about, which is why for some people, like for me, when I first watched the episode, it started off a little slow. But once you start to understand what really
It's like
happened,
a roller
you start
coaster.
wanting to keep watching it, digging deeper. So look, go watch Paradise
And
on Hulu.
Sterling K. Brown's doing a phenomenal job.
Sterling
With
K.
you.
Brown is killing it. Shout out to him.
An
He's
Emmy
got
for this, man.
he's got an awesome podcast on YouTube with his wife too. Hell of a podcast on YouTube with his wife.
Yeah.
Before I go into the next section, which is brand new, fresh, we're gonna try out. I do want to highlight um, the Climbback series, just dropping a new video about Los Hermanos Tequila. If you are
Yes.
not watching the Climbback series by Have Streams Media, please do yourself a favor. You are doing yourself a disservice. Go to Have Streams Media today and watch Climbback series. This is talking about two guys that actually two black guys that started a tequila company and they went and did sourced everything and did everything from scratch. It is an awesome interview. You guys make sure that you go see it, you view it, you share it. It is every video that he's been doing so far has been killing it. Been really killing it. But again, I know you wasn't expecting this. I'm doing this anyway because it's important. Climb back series. Just tell them if they don't know what it is, tell them what it is really quick.
Man, thank you, K Dizzle. Man, the Climbback series is my baby. It's something that I'm proud of. It's a web series that allows people that have hit rock bottom, maybe gone through some trials and tribulations, personally and professionally, but we get to sit down and let them tell their story of how they climb back and are doing phenomenal things like Los Hermanos is doing. Went to Mexico themselves, straight out of Baltimore, man. Went to the source, down to the cartel, the real Mexico, they call it,
Mhm.
and rub elbows with the Medellin and get to the agave plant and cut it down and actually taste and sample the tequila and have to get it back across the border. I mean, the interview was phenomenal. Please come to Have Streams Media and check out that episode because it's really great content, man. Like I think it's some good stuff. It's people telling stories that you'll just be surprised at what other people have done and where they've come from. So thank you for
Mhm.
letting me share that on the podcast, bro. But
Of
definitely
course,
check out
man.
the
Of
Climbback.
course. Of course, man. Shout out to the Climax series. It's a great thing you're doing, man. And I support that 110%. So this next really quick one, I showed you the little pictures. This one we're gonna call this little section we might start doing. We'll see how it goes. Called Streets is Talking, where I
Streets is talking.
pull up some of the stuff you've seen on the internet over the past week that has stirred conversation and controversy that people have been talking about and sharing their opinions on. His first pick I'm gonna pull up. Let's see, where is it? Let's do this one, okay? All right, this one right here. Let me move us to the side so everybody can read this, okay? After lady post online. After 2 months of talking, I told this guy yesterday I wasn't ready for a relationship. He responded, "It's been great. Hope you had a good one." And then he blocked me. No effort, no pressure applied. I am devastated. I am devastated. What, if anything, is wrong with this picture, my friend?
Well, it starts out with the whole part of what she said after the 2 months of talking. She didn't know what she was doing.
Uh-huh.
With all due respect, bless her heart. After 2 months of talking, I told this guy yesterday that I wasn't ready for a relationship. So he responded, "It's been great. Hope you have a good one," and blocked him. So maybe he got his heart broken. Maybe he thought it was more than just talking. But what is that? It comes down to what she felt. Like, if she set the boundaries, I'm not mad at her, K Dizzle, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. If she let him know what it was, but if he had the entire aspirations of being in a relationship, I think 2 months is long enough for dating to figure it out.
But why is she devastated?
She's a girl. She's gonna be
What?
she's gonna be devastated. If he and
That's the most
if he
masculine
if,
thing
if
I've
he
ever
said if he said go to hell, I hate you, she'd have been devastated too. So
heard.
either way, she was gonna be devastated. But like I said, she talking for 2 months. How many months was she gonna talk?
That's a fair question. So look, really quick, man. If you reading this in the chat, please tell me what you think about this. I think more than anything, I think the problem we have here is yes, you didn't put 2 months worth of work in, right? And then you come up to a guy who's also investing the time, and then you just out the blue say, "Yeah, I don't want a relationship." From a man's perspective, that automatically says, "I am no longer interested in you." Right? I'm no longer interested in you. I don't want to have a relationship with you. The fact that she is thinking that there should be a different type of conversation or response, she's thinking that somebody should apply pressure. Why would somebody apply pressure when you've just told them you don't want them? Why stay somewhere where you don't want to be? And and I think this gets caught up into some of the games that people play, and they end up playing the game by themselves,
Yeah.
right?
But you said that a billion times.
It's a cat and mouse game where if you sitting here and you trying to do something and you want the opposite, It's not how relationships should work. That's the childish game that we play when childish games get childish prizes. And so I you gotta be able to look at that and say, all right, that's my bad. That's on me. 110%.
I mean, again, I'm not ready to go hard against the girl who posted it. It could have been a guy's fault because he could be like really thinking it could have been more than what it was. I mean, how long are you talking? Like, you got to be clear with your communication. Like, I'm telling you, man. I told y'all, I've been watching that Pop the Balloon and Find Love lately. And the worst thing that you can do out here in 2025 is not tell people the real shit up front.
Hmm.
Man, you got to get it out there, man. Tell people what you want, tell people what you don't want, and don't be faking because all you're going to do is just wait for the inevitable. You're going to be talking for a couple months, K Dizzle, and
But
get, and get a message just like that.
no,
Because the whole time, what?
no, the issue is this. You you thinking you want somebody to apply pressure when you tell them you don't want them.
But they want that either way. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Even if they didn't like the guy. But she probably was talking to him for a couple months and never even liked him. And still
No,
wants him to apply the pressure.
well, she says obviously she liked him because she's devastated.
Right.
She's upset that he walked away. But that's your fault. Don't put it on the internet and get upset and say, "Oh, I'm devastated." That's your fault.
She better figure it out. Next relationship, next talk,
Yeah, next talk.
next time she goes on some talks.
By the way, 301-857-1757 is the number that you can hit. We will bring you on, talk about it, say your feelings, speak your piece. I'm gonna say this one again. This is gonna be real quick. This next one, Streets is Talking. I've seen this circulate a heck of a lot as well, which is crazy to me.
South says Hef Streams Media sponsored by the Nova Hotel.
Nova Hotel.
Absolutely not.
All right. So this young lady herself. This young lady herself.
That's hilarious.
Man is giving low effort after he sent $30 for lunch. So the text message says, "Good morning." He says, "Good morning." He sends $30. He says, "I know it ain't much, but lunch on me." And she immediately returns the money. It says, "You don't have to do that. Thanks, though." And then post it and says, "I'm so over low effort. Just keep it effing."
Man, these women are gonna be single for a long time, bro. Or they just gonna be getting with more and more women.
let, let me say this. Let me preface this conversation. Okay. The problem is this: we see a lot of this online. We see a lot of this um, posterized, and we start to believe the false narrative that majority of the women out there are like this, or the majority of men out there are like this.
Hey, Dizzle, you starting to make me think they are.
Hey, look, because this is what's sensationalized. This is the exception. This is not the rule. Guys, please don't think all women out here like this. If you do run into this, you have done yourself a service by moving away from this person. Okay. So you actually dodged the bullet. You've seen the flag and you need to keep rolling. So look, man. I'm so caught aback that
What you
I can't
think,
even
though?
say much on that. I can't even say much.
I told you what I think it is.
What do you think it is?
I think it's women out here do not want to be in relationships, man. Women do not want to be. I think men want to be in more relationships than women. I really do. I truly believe it. I really believe that men still want to have traditional relationships and women don't want no parts of that shit. I think more men are trying to stick to tradition and more women are straying away from tradition. And it's like now, you send me a Cash App or Apple Pay for $30. Like I'm supposed to come home and give you the panties off or some shit like that. I ain't mad at her, K Dizzle. I ain't mad. I'm gonna play devil's advocate today because I had a great weekend in Brooklyn. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate like you usually do. I'm gonna beat you to the punch.
All right, do it.
Man, so maybe it is lazy. Like, should he? If you're looking to create a gesture, all right. Is it the old fashioned, the thought that counts, or should he have maybe showed up with a cooked meal at her job? Maybe went by there with some effort, like she says, with a meal that he prepared.
It wouldn't have been no good. She would have threw it in the trash. She's like, it ain't Mastro's. Get out.
See, the same way
It
you
ain't
just said,
Mastro's. Pick rock.
the same way you just gave your answers, the same way I just gave my answer on the last one.
Hey, so
Either way, you don't win.
So look, before we go into the last one, right? I have the absolute pleasure. We have a special guest tonight, man. We have a special guest tonight. Absolute pleasure. And you know what I want to do? I want to do it differently. I normally go in and just talk a whole bunch of spitting a whole bunch of stuff about the person who is, what they are. I'm gonna let them speak on themselves, and then I'm gonna just
Uh-oh.
sit the effigies upon them. And I'm gonna pull you in. Shout out to we're bringing in the lady of the evening. Her name is Sarita Wright. Sarita, can you hear me? You got your camera on?
Yes.
Look, there
Hello.
she is. There
Thank
she
you
is.
for having me.
Hey, look. So tell them because they don't know. Let me move this thing out your face, out your
I
forehead,
can't.
right quick. 301-857-1776 conversation. Look, tell them the people who you are. Okay, tell the people who you are.
Okay, well, my name is Sarita. Some people call me Riri. I am a PG native,
Mhm.
but spent a great deal of time in Brooklyn. So shout out to Brooklyn. I loved hearing all of the happenings that's going on in Brooklyn because I have not been back since I moved 3 years ago. Um, but I think what a lot of people know me for is being in the cannabis industry and spending time as a voice to uplift other voices in the industry, as well as my earlier work going to New York and working in the fashion industry and working in media and communications. I currently work for the state of Maryland in the Office of Social Equity, where we support 191 to date newly minted licensees here in Maryland. So across retail, cultivation, micro grows as well. And it's been an exciting time to come back to the state where I certainly had my first joint in Largo, skipping school, and very full circle being back here and working for the community that I really do love and that I have, I want to give back to in this way because I really believe in the power of this plant.
So hold on. So look, shout out to Riri. She being real quiet on it.
It's
So
it's a lot to remember.
I know. So look, she was one of the co-founders of a group called Astro Hayes, and I put it on the screen right now because one of the things that they did was they took and highlighted women and people of color in the cannabis industry to put them on to help them move along, give them the resources, build the community and the brand so they can use that to create generational wealth in that sector, in that industry. So very pivotal on moving the needle to helping our people get into the industry, create a brand, and become successful entrepreneurs in that business. I mean, look, another part of her that she just talked about as well, which I want to pull up in a second too, is that new job you got in the city. We thank the Lord for you coming back to the city as well.
Okay.
Okay. Shout out to you with this Maryland government, Sarita Wright, the new communications public affairs manager,
All right.
strategic
OSC.
communications and affairs manager in the state of Maryland. I love when our people come home and come back and recontribute to the community, and it's big. And so, look, Hef, more than me, this is for you. Holla at my girl. She,
I see you.
holla at my girl. Hey, look, we was talking offline, right? And I was like, hey, I was like, so what you got for me? She was like, first inclination. You talking about weed?
Absolutely.
What you want, man? What you need?
Talk to me.
So welcome, Sarita. I really appreciate you and your presence this evening, and thank you for
Thank
joining us.
you.
So this is a platform that we love to have people like yourself come by and share some knowledge. And I'm a cannabis user myself.
What you got there?
This is To answer your question, this is Xanax, Znackz.
Give him a free promo.
It's an indica. I got this from a Brooklyn dispensary.
Okay.
But yeah, I want to ask you, what like a lot of people talk about the dispensary business, right?
Hmm.
And I know it's a tough business to just jump right into, but I've also heard a lot of people coming up with a lot of money and starting out and not finishing the process. Is that common? Or like a lot of people like jumping in and not really being prepared? Do you know? I know you're not really in that side of the
Mm.
business, but what do you think
Well,
about that?
I think it varies. No, no two scenarios are the same. There are some people who do have more access to capital than others. There are some people who've gotten to this industry and it really was a lottery. You know,
Okay.
the license fee was this amount. They put their money in, they put their application in, and it's like, oh, Shiza, I have a cannabis license, and they may have no idea, have never run a business. So their learning curve might be a little bit different. So no two scenarios are the same. I think it takes a lot of grit and resilience. I think it takes a lot of just allowing yourself to be in the industry. And what I mean by that is like go to the events, go to the conferences, go to the community cultural events, because these are your consumers. So you want to know, like, culturally, like, what are people doing, like how do they engage, what interests these folks. Um and that is what I really appreciate, at least about Maryland's program, is that there are programs and services that our agency provides to these new licensees to help them get operational in a way that in other states does not exist, and it did not exist when I even started in the industry, almost 10 years ago. So just like any other new industry or venture, a state or government might set up, a small business agency that has grants and services to help kickstart that local economy. Cannabis didn't have that. It did not have that. And so now it's such a privilege, to work with a governor that really believes in it, saw the necessity of it, and created an agency to help facilitate that need.
Yeah. Look,
I want to follow up with one quick question too,
go ahead.
K Dizzle. What do you think, Sarita, about what's up, Erica? And hey, Ma, what's up, Ma? What do you think about the I don't know if I want to call it the growth of public consumption, but it seems like now because the dispensary scene is so popular, you see the consumption of marijuana so much more freely. Like I was saying when the podcast came on, I was seeing people, and I don't want to be hot. I'm not the police, but smoking in Barclays Arena. Like I was like, this is
I
wild.
know.
Wow, right?
I mean, but let's be honest, right? Half is it half?
You
Yeah,
got it.
Yes.
yeah, because
We've been smoking and lighting up in public places for decades. You know what I mean? At the go-go, like, we've been doing it. I do think that it's more, in some ways, socially acceptable. Um, I also think that there is a lack of safe spaces to actually consume, and there are laws that say that you can consume, but they have really kind of tied your hands about where you can consume. So you're just kind of like, well, I bought this product, it's legal. What is happening here? So
right.
It's funny you say that because the dispensary that I go to, shout out to Remedy in Baltimore, treat me very well. They have a big dispensary that has like arcade games. They have like ping pong tournaments. They have PlayStation tournaments, but you can't smoke. So it's like they want you to hang out there to buy more product, but
mhm.
the signs are posted all around because of these laws, like you say, to say no consumption on the property. So it's a catch 22. But once they
Yeah.
figure it out, I'm all in.
Yes, me too. And there are some places that I've been. I went to Las Vegas in December for a really great conference, cannabis conference called MJ Biz. Shout out to MJ Biz. It was a whirlwind in Las Vegas. You can imagine. But there is a beautiful dispensary slash cannabis lounge on the Indian reservation. I can't remember right now. Okay, Dizzle, I will follow up and give it to you. And I mean, I think after one day after conference, I spent half the day there. Like, choosing what I wanted. They had a dab bar. They had infused cocktails, 5 milligrams. They had oh my God, an outdoor space. They have all kinds of nights, wrestling night, taco night, bingo night. They, to your point, have simulated golf, but like it is a place that they have curated, and their benefit of also being on that reservation
Yeah.
has also given them a bit more flexibility.
Right.
Yeah. Where are you
Right.
located? Are you in Brooklyn?
No, I'm here. I live in Baltimore. I
Okay.
live in Baltimore. I'm from PG County.
All right.
And this is like, it's a whole new world for me. But I started smoking late because of, like, I was scared. In case doesn't want me to overtalk, you want to jump in, jump in. But I was one of those guys. I was scared because, like, my mom and my grandmother, like, we lived in the hood. We grew up in Suitland, and like we was out and about the neighborhood, but like in our house we didn't smoke it.
Yeah.
So I was afraid to smoke weed until I was like 18. Like,
Right.
I really started late just because of my family. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Smoking the devil's
But
lettuce.
Right.
right. But since I started late, I realized the medicinal benefits, and a lot of the things that it helps me do, because like I'm a creative, but I also work a lot during the day. And when I come home, K Dizzle will tell you I light up one or two, and just like the land for my daily activity.
Yeah. I mean, some people have wine. Other people, like you, want to have a J and just unwind. You might want to have an edible. I think that we're all looking for that same kind of release and just kind of closure to our day that kind of cements that, like, work is over, relaxation, family time has begun. And I know for me, I like not having a hangover, not feeling nauseous in the morning. I like to have an edible and it peaks to a certain point. And like you, as a creative, I know I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm in my zone, or whatever it is. So I do appreciate that we have gotten to a point with the products that we have now, with the different strains that we have now, and just the knowledge, I think, about how the plant can interact with us that we did not have before, and we certainly didn't have a lot of access to.
I never knew anything about the plant and the breakdown, K Dizzle, and Serena, because with the dispensary education that you get when you're a frequent customer like myself, you've got this whole new terminology of like things that you look for. So it's
Yeah.
like you always heard of THC, and that's what they test it for when you do a test for marijuana. But they talk about the terps, Sarita,
Yeah.
and break that down. Like, what's up with the whole terp thing, and how is that like the new craze when it comes to marijuana?
Well, listen, I don't presume to be a scientist about this plant, but I will say that, like, terpenes are found in a lot of things, and they're used really to, I think most people know about terpenes in the sense of using them to heighten maybe a flavor in food. So, like, a popular terpene in cannabis is lemon, also pepper. And then when you start, combining some of those terps, that also can help with some of the medical benefits, that lemon has, that pepper has. And so, like, to your point, having that knowledge, you can go in and be a more informed, I guess, consumer, like you would with anything else. Like, you go in and get some sneakers, maybe you had your ID on the New Balance, but then you go in, you see, okay, oh, this Converse got some over here, Puma's got some here. You try on different things, you ask some questions. You're an informed consumer, you've tried it on, and you're like, okay, this is what I want to get. Now you can actually do that. Like, you go into dispensaries and there's brands that are coming up, brands that are more known than others, brands that have been able to, maybe just be statewide and get really big, or maybe they're national or regional. Um, you are able to go in and try a strain like what Hef has, and able to go back next week and say, okay, I want that again. That was really good, right? And you know how it made you feel. You know the effects that it had. Versus, I was just telling a friend of mine, I was like, I remember one time going down Central Avenue somewhere. I don't remember when we crossed over to DC. It was one too many of us in the car, and we should have gotten pulled over. We should have been in school. Like, all of the things wrong we were absolutely doing. But we got some weed, and who knows what that was? Nobody could tell you.
Right, right.
You just got what you got because that was what was available.
And you hear weed smokers now, now Sarita say like, "Oh, well, this ain't like the weed we used to smoke.
No, it's not. No.
This ain't your granddaddy's weed." I'm like, well, "What is that? Like, what was he smoking back then?"
Right. I mean, I could see on the one hand how it was, more definitely more organic and probably less chemicals and pests, things like that. Um, on the other hand, you don't know. You don't know because half the time it could have been absolute trash. It
It
was so
was
lit.
illegal.
It was like there's nothing
That's all
even.
we knew.
That's
It
all
was
we knew.
illegal. It was the weed man.
And you
We
was
knew
going
we
to
can get
jail if they
a
caught you.
dime or a nickel or whatever we needed at that moment.
That part.
Mom said,
That part.
the mama said, the weed I had back then isn't what you have now. Trust me.
Yeah,
Look,
she looks at me like I'm crazy. Like that shit you smoking. I don't know about that. I'm like, relax. That shit I'm smoking is prescribed. Thank you.
what
And
you,
do
what
you have your
smoking?
medical card?
I was gonna. I do. I'm part of the MMCC, and I have the whole login to my state account. I gotta renew that actually this week. That's something.
Okay.
But yeah, I like it because I go to the dispensary. I don't gotta pay taxes. I get to cut in line. I get the benefits of being a medical member. But what's your and then Kate does
I
go
try
ahead
to
and tell
tell
me
people, yeah.
what's your favorite strain?
What?
Oh, well, I have a few. OG Gorilla Glue. I feel like you can get that pretty much everywhere and it's like consistent, like,
That's a good one.
McDonald's French fries. I like Northern Lights. I like Red Congolese. It's kind of rare, get it out West Coast, but
I haven't had that one, Kate does. That's different.
that's a good one. Yes.
Write that down. Red
Red
Congolese.
Congolese. And not a lot of cultivators, also do that one. So it's nice when you can get your hands on it. It's a nice, steady, even type of high. I think nice clarity, focus. So if you want to kind of do some work, get some things done, it's really good for that.
Yeah.
So
Love
I've
this
always
conversation,
said-
man.
I've said for years, we need to legalize it and tax it. Legalize it and tax it. Pay for our schools, our roads, all that stuff. You're gonna find it, man. You're gonna find it. It's just a matter of time. You're gonna find it. But legalize, tax it, and then just the industry in itself. We know that it's a growing billion on hundreds of $1 billion industry moving forward, and it makes no sense to keep it illegal. Just legalize it and tax it. There are plenty of examples where they have done that in those states and they have
Mhm.
funded their schools and their infrastructure, and it has become a great source of revenue in keeping other types of revenue down, from either property taxes or states or sales taxes, things of that nature. It just,
Absolutely.
we
I
just
definitely.
got to be smart about it moving forward. And I
I
think there
think
are a lot
that.
of misconceptions about cannabis industry as a whole. Again,
Oh
too
yeah.
many people still that say it's the devil's lettuce.
Mm-hmm.
Still don't know what the positive attributes are for it. So,
Absolutely. I mean, can I just say really quickly? Um, One, I totally agree. I think cannabis can do a lot of good. And, not to plug the agency, but I will say that's one thing that I do appreciate about the state. There is a cannabis reinvestment and repair fund.
mhm.
This fund takes a portion of the taxes from the cannabis tax sales, the legal sales here in Maryland, and it goes into a fund for all of the counties in Maryland. It's based upon a data set of zip codes. So there are like the disproportionately impacted zip codes over a 20-year period that, were over police. Funny enough, lots of them are in Baltimore City. The majority of them are also in PG County. When I look at them, I'm gagging. I'm like,
What a coincidence.
I've lived in like 3 of these zip codes. Like I live in one of those zip codes now. Like this is insanity.
For sure.
But so each quarter, the Maryland Comptroller basically deposits hundreds of $1,000s, $1 million. It depends, right? Because of each zip code
Right.
into the county fund, and then the county fund is to disperse these funds to local nonprofits, leaders of youth programs. So this we did town halls and we do a survey to find out what do Marylanders want this money to be used for. We put that in a report. It goes to General Assembly, but there is money that is coming back to the state for the purposes that you're talking about. And so We want more just constituents to know, because it's good to know that, oh, there's a fund that can help with mental health programs and youth services and speed bumps on the street. It cannot go to law enforcement training. It cannot go to law enforcement at all. But this is an example of cannabis doing good and that money being used to actually heal communities that, were harmed. Also, I want to have, is this your mom? Did you say mom?
Yes.
Yep, I'm happy.
Okay, Mama Have, if you decide to get your try cannabis again, get your license. You have to meet with a doctor. They are going to really talk to you and get to know you and ask you, what are you doing? How are you feeling? What do you want from this? It may not even be about getting high. Maybe have a sore back or something like that. And you just need a transdermal CBD, you won't get high, but it gives you the medical effects that you don't always have to pop an Advil or Tylenol. So
Talk to her, Sarita. Tell her.
there's some other options, and that is the benefit of having that medical card. Like your son said, some of the additional perks, the no taxes, the skipping the line, all that good stuff. But it can help some other ailments medically that you may not have considered.
Migraines, all that good stuff.
Oh my
All that stuff
God.
that a lot of people deal with.
Yeah.
So look, I want to tap in. I don't want to make it a whole cannabis section, right? But I want to tap into what your position at the Maryland within the Maryland government of social equity. So
what is my position?
Yeah, well, you know what the position is. I don't know.
Yes.
You're in the Office of Social Equity. Talk about that and some of the things you do with the community.
Absolutely. So I manage and direct the communication, the public facing communication. No 2 days are the same. We might be trying to build a campaign for public awareness. We might be planning to table at MBE night. I might be drafting a acceptance of speech, real story for the governor to accept a cannabis award at a summit. And I'm crossing my fingers, hoping that his team keeps, as much of it as possible, right? Because who doesn't want to say, they wrote a cool speech, right? And so, I really help to share our programs, the bills that are passing that are related to cannabis, not just in the state, but in the nation that are relevant, and also really help to uplift the licensees and really help the state understand that we are not just like giving money away. This is really a program that is really to help serve these entrepreneurs, because at the end of the day, these are small business owners. They are entrepreneurs, and this is a plant. So, help to share those narratives in a way that I think is human first and not policy first.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I know that's right.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
He's homegrown and doing it.
Yeah.
Good. I love it. I love it. Look, Riri, look, if you don't know, please educate yourselves on cannabis. Everything that it does. It's more than just a plant. It's more than just a devil's lettuce for all you boomers that call it that, and everybody else who just thinks it's something that it's not helpful to the community. There's a lot of things that people are actually benefiting from in such a major way for our community. But more importantly, if you are involved or want to get involved in the industry, seek out those who have the information, like the Maryland Office of Social Equity, that goes out there and puts this stuff out there so that you are aware what to do, how to do, and how to do it the right way. I know there's some laws. There's some laws in Maryland, right, where you can grow a certain amount, correct?
You can, yeah. We have home grow laws, which
Yeah.
Even I can do 2 plants that I have, since I have the MMCC registration. I can do 2 plants.
Yeah.
So just it's easier to make the right decisions if you know what the laws are. If you know what you're legally okay with doing. So moving forward, but yeah, man, look, Riri, I'm gonna go. Look, we usually do an hour, but we're gonna add some extra on here because I want to really get into this. I want to talk about this. We brought you in, and I want to bring you on this too, with this Streets is Talking section. This last one that I'm going to put up, okay?
Okay.
Last one that I'm going to put up. It's gonna be a doozy. Mama Hef, I know you got some words. I know you got some words on this. But look, let me post this right quick, okay? This is stuff we've seen on the internet that people be wilding out about, right? And this one's a little long, so bear with me, okay? Let me put this up on the screen, make sure it's there. All right. So The lady says, so I told my 19-year-old that she should pay $100 a month for rent, and now her and the 16-year-old are saying I'm a bad mom and I'm trying to get her for her money. Mind you, rent is 1550 where we stay in the MF hood. My plan was to move in a better area where the rent will be about 2,500 a month. This past year, my light bill has been 400 to 800 a month. All my bills get paid. I'm not on no assistance. I never ever received child support from them, nothing. It's not including their high maintenance hairdos, clothes, none of that, shoes, none of that. I work like a dog as a CNA, sometimes working 2 jobs at a time to maintain. I don't see the problem with her paying $100 a month. Damn, am I wrong? Her thing is, I'm saving all my money for a car and I'm going to find an apartment. I said, okay, Marche. She don't put her name out there. You've been saving for a car for 2 years, and in those 2 years, all I see is packages every day in the mail. And you're DoorDashing crab legs, Qdoba, and Chipotle. I don't like bringing my business to Facebook, but my mama is gone, and I need some real advice. Am I wrong for wanting her to contribute? I mean, she's making $20 an hour. She works full time. She has her own space. I don't see how I'm a bad mom for suggesting this. Okay. Long story short, mom says, okay, 19-year-old, you living here, you working full time. I need you to kick in $100 a month. And now she starts getting blowback. Okay. She done went down the line and all that stuff, right? All right. Look, Riri. Riri. What you say, Riri? What you say? Come on.
You know, as a communications professional, I have a lot of thoughts. You know, I have lots of thoughts, and I think the first, I had a lot of thoughts. I said, you get down to the clothes and the clothes and the hairdos. I said, well, you can cut that out and have her pay for those things herself, and that could probably net you several $100s extra a month. Then, when you went back and read it again, and I said, well, mama said should. So it wasn't a definite. So it seemed like it could have been the start to a conversation. But then she took it to the internet, and I was like, I understand. She doesn't have, seems like maybe a close confidant that she could tell this to. But then I go, well, why don't we have a therapist or a counselor? I don't think all the things need to be on the internet. So again, I had so many thoughts as a communications professional of what was here. I hate that it seemed, like it's gone to a bad place, because it just seemed like it was the start of a conversation that they probably could have got on the same page. Like either, you contribute financially because maybe this is my goal. This is where I see us in the next couple of years. And or this is still the goal. This is where I see us another couple of years. So I'm going to pull back on your clothes and your shoes, and your hair. You take care of that. You're 19. I'll help out with maybe the big things, but if you want to spend $200 on some shoes, maybe I'm not doing that anymore, right? So I see multiple scenarios.
So hold on. Here you go, super analyzer. Hold on.
A lot of scenarios here.
Look, your communications degree kicked in. Half. Go on with it, half.
Well, to me, I really analyzed everything just like Sarita said she did. And I think Marche has, she has a choice in her hands here. She can pay the $100. She can cut back her crab legs or her Qdoba and Chipotle. Or she can, roll out and go pay $15.50 somewhere else. And she can have all the Chipotle she wants and do whatever she wants to do in that place for $15.50. But if I was her, I'd pick the $100. Well, that's my simple analysis of this. I mean, you're 19, you're making $20 an hour. That really equates to like $10 an hour in today's economy. So she's not making much money. So, I think she wants her to understand principle. But I think her putting her out there about her clothes and all her personal things, she went too far with that. But the $100 a month for her to learn responsibility for a place to, pay for a roof over her head, that's not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing at all. Not a bad thing at all.
Yeah. I think I at least pay for my cell phone and my car insurance.
Yeah.
So my mom wasn't playing that. You was gonna pay, you want these things? The cell phone was definitely a luxury.
Cell phone was definitely a luxury.
The pager too. She was like, oh, you want a pager? You're not a doctor. So you certainly be footing this bill, Sarita.
So, I want to glaze into this really quick because I know you're going over time. Basically, this really quick because this speaks to a bigger issue, right? And you see, I got the ticker on the bottom. Let me put the number 301-857-1757. It's the number you want to come in and speak your piece, whatever you want. We will bring you on, be you live. If you're crazy, we'll cut you off, but we love you anyway. Your relationship with money, what does it look like, right? Because when I read into this, I read two different aspects. Okay, we got the mom working, still taking care of the daughters, but the daughters don't have any real semblance of money, right? They have goals, but they don't have ideals of goals, right? They're ideas, they're goals. They say they're goals, but they're ideas because based on what mom says, drop shipping crab legs or whatever the case may be, or DoorDash and crab legs is where all the money's going.
Yeah.
So they're not really seeing it until mom's like, all right, well, you need to start chipping in, and now it becomes a whole situation where, they make it to be defensive or offensive to them, saying that you shouldn't be asking me for money, and therein lies an issue. Okay, because now you're seeing the selfishness of them only wanting to invest in themselves and not in the things that are surrounding them. So they don't have any idea of what pays what or what things cost, right? As a kid, when we get a cell phone and our parents pay for it, we don't know what it costs. We don't care. We talk smack until our cell phone's taken away. And then we act right because the access is gone.
And then, Marche's probably thinking, well, Ma, I'm working, making $19.50 an hour so I can buy all this Qdoba and all this other stuff so I can not be stressing you for that. So I shouldn't have to pay $100 for rent. Like, at least I'm buying all this stuff on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's her point.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question, Hap. When you were younger, who or where did you learn about money from?
Oh, that's a great question. When you say learn about money, though, what aspect? Like, what do you mean?
When you were younger, what was your idea?
The lack of money?
Huh? No.
Or the way money is used, or
Well, let me, because I know that's a question, right? You got to really think about that question, right? Let me ask you the first question, okay? What is money to you?
Okay, let me put it like this. My mom never gave me advice on how to go to college.
Okay.
And I'm not putting her down. I love my mom very much. My mom gave me advice on how to be a man and take care of my family.
Okay.
Like, I didn't have a dad growing up. So she installed me to having to understand that, look, son, you're going to pay bills. There's something called bills, and you're going to pay a lot of them for a long time. So let's let you get started at a young age. So I had my first job when I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
So my first job was sweeping the floor in a barbershop. So I was working for money at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
And then 15, I worked at Hardee's. And 16, I worked at Big Lots Furniture. And at 17, I worked at Walmart. And then I got into the car business, and you know how that went.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned how to make money and pay bills, and then how to establish more bills because I was making more money. But unfortunately, I didn't necessarily learn how to invest.
Okay.
I didn't learn how to make my money work for me.
Okay.
But I understood that everything that I needed, it took money.
Okay. All right. So, Riri, ask the same question. When you were younger, who or where did you learn about money from?
I would say my mom, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
She tried her best to teach me like good money management. She introduced me to not CDs, bonds, savings bonds, because a girlfriend of hers at her job introduced them to her. And so she got me a savings bond every month. That's what we used to get my first car.
Wow.
But I can't say that I was good with money. I was terrible. Oh my God. My mom for years tried to get me on the straight and narrow. I mean, when I moved to New York, like again, I had to pay, my cell phone bill and my car insurance wasn't a lot. I had a Mercury Topaz, for crying out loud. Like the car wasn't even
Mercury Topaz
made back then. So you already know. But when I moved to New York and then bills started coming every month, I realized, I said, wait a minute, they come every month. I was like shocked that it seemed like every time I turned around, I was paying for bills, even though like Hef, I started working really early, but it was because I wanted stuff. I wanted a
Right.
material things drove me. Um, and so I even changed my birth certificate to like move my birth date up so that I could get a job at Cinnabon at Landover Mall. I was so pressed to work and get these jeans I saw Mariah Carey wearing in the video. I said, "Oh, I will be up against the wall immediately." Sooner than my first check. I was terrible with my like, oh my God, terrible.
So
My mom tried everything. Like
so so and the reason why I'm asking this question purposefully like this because we all have different experiences and relationships on how we grew up with money. We didn't know what it was. We didn't know how to use it. We just knew that it was there, and we use it as a resource for what we wanted in the moment, right? And this is the same picture that we all get, same conversation we all have when 20 years later, right? We say, "Oh man, I if I had known to do this with that," like Hef said, I knew I made money to pay bills, and the more money I made, the more bills I accrued. And Sri says, "Well, I started working, and then I got my own place and did my own stuff, and I saw bills come, and I was like, cool, let me pay them." And then they came back. They came back. So, in the thing about it is the conversations, truthfully, in a lot of households about money and finances are not had. And the only way we develop those relationships with money or ideas about that money is when we're in the thick of it.
I think where we come from, a lot of the conversations that we had were about financial survival, and not necessarily financial growth or having a vast financial literacy. Like a lot of the things we learned were how to get money to survive, and like I learned that I was frustrated because my household worked very hard, you know what I'm saying? And like the one bill that they might let go when things got rough was the cable bill.
Mm-hmm.
oh
So
yeah.
I knew when I went to watch my favorite like wrestling program on cable and cable was off, I'm looking around and like, all right, it's tough right now. And I
Yeah.
would always have that feeling in my stomach like my cable is never gonna get cut off.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
You
So,
know, so
so sometimes, when we grow up, we and develop, depending on your household, we all from the same area, you know, we learn because some of our parents are in survival mode because they're taking care of us and
right.
just managing, right? And that is a learned, inherited experience from the previous generation. And even if, like some areas in PG County, stuff like that, still affluent areas, that conversation still isn't had because then we go and we just supply all the necessities or the things that we think for our children, and then they don't have any concept of the cost and the value of money and what they are afforded to.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think to your point, for like my experience, it was like things were vague or the context wasn't necessarily in the proper place. Like, okay, so I'm learned how to balance a checkbook, but like I don't have any real money to balance. So what
yeah,
how, we only really use this, it just, no one's talking about, you can get life insurance and use it as a bank and ETFs. Like now I'm, on my Charles Schwab account, like, ooh, what am I gonna buy today? And how many shares of this I can get? And look at the ticker going up. I'm, and just trying to be better, well versed. But I do think, the school system does us a disservice by not having some sort of financial literacy as a part of our educational programming. Because I mean, think about it, as soon as you go to college, the first thing they're offering you is a credit card. And I remember getting my first credit card, I think it was a Discover. $10 a month seemed, of course I have $10 a month, until you don't, because you spent all your money gallivanting around Daytona. That was me, and I'm like, what is my $10? My mom has me on, a strict budget here. So it can get
Yeah.
out of control real quick.
yeah. I will say this too because I've got kids still in the school districts now.
Yeah.
They do give financial literacy courses, but
Good.
it's like it's one elective, and they may see it twice within the 12 years.
Yeah.
And so they're teaching. They give them, okay, you have a budget. This is this is your monthly budget. This is this. They play like a little town. You got a job. This is how much you make, and that's just only for a semester. And the fact that we don't emphasize the other things, i.e., compound interest, i.e., investments, i.e., in stocks, bonds, tradings, things of that nature that create wealth. We don't even skim the surface of that. We don't even skim the surface of how credit works, how credit cards work, things of that nature. So I think because we grew up in a different, again, sometimes survival mode, or the conversation was very vague.
Mm-hmm.
The conversation was very vague, or it's like, all right, well, you go work a little job, you go and work, make your own little money, and don't don't worry about that. We have to make sure that we change the idea of the mindset. Like some people still live in the scarcity mindset where they say, it's hard. I'm only got money for the next bill, or I only got money for the next thing, or I got the money for the next thing. Or the toxic one is, I don't make enough, I'll never make enough, or I'm not good enough to get enough.
Yeah.
When
Scarcity.
when the truth of the matter is, when you sit down and do it, you're really in what's called an abundant mindset, where no matter what, if you look at it, for the most part, most people, not everybody, you always make enough for what you need. You always, it becomes down to getting to know your numbers, getting to understand and making a budget, and actually develop some good habits. And you'd only do all these things by seeking help and having these conversations. And the reason why I named this tonight was the relationship we rarely talk about is we talk about money. Because either one, we're too prideful, because we don't want to tell everybody the next person, because we're sometimes judging ourselves against them, or we just don't want them to know our money business. Two, we don't know where to go and seek help. And that's where, that's where Maryland, Department of Social Equity comes in, where it brings an awareness on different things and projects and things that can help with financial literacy. And three, we just stay in that mindset. We just stay in that survival mode. And we don't want that to trickle down to the next generation that we have moving forward. So when we talk about money, it's first and foremost good to know where we are with it, to have a real honest conversation about ourselves, where we are, and then seek professional help. Seek real professional help. Just same way we need therapy, we do need a financial advisor. They cost money. Everything in this world costs money. If you want something, you want to get better, you want to grow at it. This podcast costs money. This podcast costs money. Whatever it is you want to do, it's going to cost money to get you in a better mindset. But you have to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
First and foremost, because the last thing we want to do, any of us here or any of us watching, want to be working at the age of 85. We want to buy our time back and figure out a time where we can settle down, relax, retire, and actually live. Right. I don't knock the people that work at Walmart that are older, because some people just want to get out of the house and do something. But it's the difference between wanting to and having to.
But you also got the fact too, guys, that everybody wants a financial blueprint. Everybody wants that game plan, and we're like, okay, so I take X amount of dollars and I put it here, and then I go there and I put X amount of dollars here, and then it's going to yield this. But that's not the case. So unfortunately, it really comes down to what you see around you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it takes me to see a friend make an investment for me to be like, okay, well, maybe I can do that too. You know what I'm saying? In most cases, because a lot of people aren't self-taught, especially with money, because that's something that people don't want to risk. So it's a gamble. Even though that investment might be a gamble, it could be a much more beneficial move than spending money on clothes and shoes. But it's just that lack of education, which yields a lack of confidence to you're just squandering your money away. I did it for years.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
my God. Oh my God. The money that I see, it's like it's staring at you in your closet, or
it burns a
on
hole
your
in your pocket. That
walls.
old-fashioned.
But I think that the mindset too, so much of it has been passed down to us, and you might not even know it. You wanted something and somebody said we can't afford it. That it gets into your subconscious. And to your point, like my mom, she would buy HBO, for a show, and then it was, but she wouldn't even buy it. Like, you usually got a deal when the new show was a promotion, so you got to watch HBO for like 30 days for free.
30,
That
90 days.
time she's gonna watch her show, cut that thing off. It wasn't in her budget for that. And so you hear that a lot. That's not my budget. We can't afford it. Putting it on layaway. Then when you start, making some good money and you don't have to do that, you might go a little bit crazy. But I think it's the mindset first, and it took me a long time, is that you have to know that you are enough just as you are. There's not a shoe, there's not a car, all these other things, they don't matter, and they certainly don't matter when you're laying on your deathbed. You are not going to give a damn about that shoe, that car. You're not.
100%.
And so I think, when people can just get past the need to appease other people on the outside and really check with themselves within and check in on that abundance that they have within, your mindset can shift and have, to your point, you start attracting people, situations, and opportunities that sometimes may not start off giving you this big financial windfall, but it compounds. That it might be education that you need that gets you to a better paying job, or another city that gives you more opportunity. Like my mindset had to really change, and I had to let go of some of those negative times that I did have with money, where it felt like, damn, we can't get nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like for me, I grew up in Suitland too. So moving over to Largo, that was a real shock. I'm like, listen, I can't even get a car. Like these kids is pulling up. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So that need to look a certain way, and I get it, but you have that confidence really has to come from within first.
Mm-hmm. Now, look, man. I know we took a little deep, deep. But look, I think again, this is the one thing, especially with our community, because we live in an unfortunate crab in the pot syndrome situation within our community, right? Crab in the pot, or more importantly, it's Mrs. Jones. What they say with the Joneses?
Yeah.
Trying to compete with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses. We all damn Joneses. We all live on the same block. We all just trying to make it out here. And if we're honest with each other,
Yeah.
and figure out ways, if I know something that you don't know, if you know something that I don't know, and we can share that knowledge and information, and we both come up, that is the way we need to move forward. And when we talk about money, that's the only way we move forward. We need to get out of the survival mindset and thinking that, hey, it's never enough. It never stretches far enough for what we need. If we sit down and do our numbers, I promise you'll find $20. You'll find $20. You'll find $40. Hell, you might find enough for freaking Google TV. I don't know. But I do know that having an honest conversation with yourself, doing your own numbers, seeking professional help is going to help you move the needle some way, somehow. And if you share a little bit along the way, whatever you figured out with the next person, and don't gatekeep, then everybody will get in a better situation. Everybody get in a better situation. I knew that again when I came up. My lifestyle was really crazy because we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. It was 8 of us. No, I'm sorry, 8, 5, 6, 7 of us. It was 7 of us. 1-bedroom apartment in Delphi. 5-star making some money. We moved on Ricks Road. 5-star making some real money. We moved in 17th Street, 17th Decatur. We was in this big old house with no food. We was poor. We was wealthy poor. We was rich poor. I walked to the hood to go to school. Rich poor. And then and then we moved, and then my father passed away. And we started moving once a year every 8 years. And so it was just a matter of, okay, I know what it looks like when I have. I know what it looks like when I don't have. I know what it looks like when we making it. I know what it looks like when we barely making it.
But that's another thing too. Like a lot of people don't have that actual advantage of knowing how to make it with nothing.
Oh man!
So that's a skill that we got that some people don't know. If they had to be in our position, they probably be like, I can't go on.
And that's the biggest difference when you're talking about people who come from generational wealth and people who don't, because they, depending on how their upbringing was, they may not understand the concepts of money and the ideals behind it and how much it affects the direction and the choices people make in their lives. If you did not have to worry about money, a lot of the choices you make in life would be hella different than what they are now. And that's the truth. That's the absolute truth of the matter. So if you can get to a point where you can teach your kids or teach the next generation, say, hey, if I can pass this generational wealth down, but also still give you the same principles and values and understanding what it is, what it means, and make sure that your mindset is accurate when you get it, then you can make sure you pass that down the same way. So now they don't compromise or get that money and blow it. Get that money and blow it. There's been plenty of times where grandpa died with a pension from the post office that they split between the four families. And that's what, and the money just blows out the window in 6 months. That's why lottery winners lose in a year. That's why all those things happen. It's because their mindset is still stuck in the same format it was before, scarcity or survivor mode. So be real with yourself and have a good conversation about your money. If you really want to make a change, sit down and figure it out. Write your numbers out. For those who were born before, born after the year 1990, that's called a pen and a paper or number 2 pencil, pencil pad, and write those figures out and make it happen. But look, I know we've gone way over time.
Good conversation.
Yes.
But look, it's important. It's hella important. Not just to know that their mindset, but also the other thing we talked about with having Sarita on. Shout out to Sarita Wright, Sarita Savage. Everything about what you got going on. I love you, sis. You do phenomenal work.
Thank you.
That you are.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have Mama have too.
On all our social media stuff, we're gonna make sure we post and plaster everywhere where they can follow you. I put your YouTube up, you're rich in spirit. We make sure we put savagegazelle.com, which is your blog. I put all that stuff there.
Definitely gotta go
check her out and follow her. She is a light in the darkness. If you need some help with anything, go reach out to her. If you need a hookup, she got the right me. I'll let you know. Phenomenal fee. I don't know if that's real or not, but I'm just putting it out there. So no.
All good, all good.
The red Congolese half is gonna go snatch up.
Yes.
We're gonna talk. Before we go, please, I need to answer this question. Okay, the difference between patches and edibles, right? We know what marijuana does. The difference between patches and edibles and stuff like that, because like you said before, people get concerned about. All right. Well, I don't want the hallucinogenic part.
Okay. Yes. So it's just another way to. I mean, I don't say consume because it's like a transdermal patch, but think of like you know how they have icy hot, like an icy hot patch that you would put on your back.
Yeah.
It's a transdermal patch that has CBD, sometimes CBD and THC, like a 1-to-1, 1 part to 1 part, And so that's a patch that you would literally peel off and you would put on your back or the area that aches, your abdomen, if maybe it's your time of the month. And so in that way, it absorbs through the skin, through the body that way. And then that's how you get the healing. So it's just another way to utilize the plant.
Local anesthesia.
Well, you're not going to be numb.
You ain't going to be numb.
Yeah, you're not going to be numb. And I mean, if it has THC in it, depending on the dosage, you might get, high in the sense of you might be really relaxed. If it might be it's an indica dominant. But otherwise, there's a product that I use on my lower back by Dr. Solomon, and it's like a cream. It's got like a little menthol smell, so like a Tiger Balm. Remember that Tiger Balm? But that's kind of the consistency. A little goes a long way. You rub it on your back. It's I think 145 milligrams of THC, 135 milligrams of CBD. So much more CBD to give you that medicated help to relax those muscles and just ease that pain away. So again, it doesn't that one doesn't get me high or anything. It's the strength in the THC really helps to soothe and get that soreness out. Yeah.
Sheesh. All right, we're gonna talk more offline.
For sure. Well, thank you for having me. Absolutely. I appreciate it. Great conversation. And Health, I'm so glad you had a blast in Brooklyn. It's very, very near and dear to my heart. So thank you. I am going to jump off. I appreciate you. Perm. Hey Dizzle, let me not.
It's fine. My government name is all over this joint. It's just all good. All good and great. Love you, sis. Thank you for coming on.
I really appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Bye.
Great conversation.
Great conversation. Tell them where they can find you, my friend.
Man, find Hef Streams Media everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. The latest Climb Back series episode is out. featuring Los Hermanos, man. Please go check it out. Subscribe, share it, so we can keep this content going.
Oh. Facebook, YouTube, ADU Podcast. We everywhere. Please, if you have anything you want to pull up in, ideas, conversations about the show, all dressed up podcast at gmail.com. You know the name, K Dizzle DC, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, everywhere. You're about to see a lot more of us. Also, listen to Spotify. Anywhere we are online, you will find us. You'll find the episodes. Look, we thank you guys for hanging out. Shanae, I love you too. Shout out to Shanae Wilborn, sponsored by Nova Hotel in Brooklyn, where they give stocks away. They give free stocks away that may not be yours. Amen. But look, anything else you got, babe?
Man, I'll tell you what, man. Great episode. Thank you very much for the guests. And man, we'll see you the week after next. We appreciate you.
Sal, we love you too, man. Talk to y'all.
Love you, Sal.
You know, and I know, and they know, and we know, we go all in, you know, and I know, they know, 'cause we know, we go all